Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 guitars. We have the Ibanez hollow body AF-75 letter. We're doing a pickup swap on it. We're putting death buckers in it. I'm going to show you where we're at, how we got there. I'm going to describe some of the processes because I can't film them. But we're going to finish up the guitar, test it out, and string it and set it up. Let's get to work. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. So you see we have the death buckers in. We're just getting ready to test them. Quite a process to get these out and new ones in. Neck pickup. Bridge pickup. Tone. Perfect. Both. Perfect. Beautiful. I love it. So, refer to the first video. You see all of the taped up mess that it takes to kind of protect the guitar, number one. You don't have a lot of room. You can get some maneuverability once the pickups are out, the old pickups, but it's not like an acoustic where you can stick your hand in there and reach over to the control cavity. There is no control plate in the back. Of course, it's a hollow body. When these guitars are assembled, all that stuff is put in before the top is attached to the rest of the body, which makes it a lot easier. You can always tell a hollow body that's had some wiring issues or wiring work on it because there's always a few wires poking through the F-hole there. There was two wire hangers that are on the inside against a stabilizing bracket. You have to undo that, and it took quite a bit of doing just to get that undone to loosen the wires so that I could get to work on it. But there's no way to put that stuff back. You can't. It's impossible. And even fishing the wires back through, and the process that I use is picture the pickups are out. They're laying on a cloth over here, and you have to run a string down to the hole, reach in with a claw tool, Yahtzee, and pull the string back through. Then what do? You tie the string to whatever pot you're trying to fish back through there and pop through the hole, and then you pull it through. It sounds easier than it is. Elapsed time is probably taking it apart and putting it back together about 4 hours. Not an easy job. It never is. I generally will turn away hollow body work only because the reward to amount of time, the monetary reward to the amount of time involved, it just isn't there, and it's not fair to the customer to charge them $500 for 6 hours of work by the time you get done. I digress, but this is a good customer. He's a friend of mine, and I'm cutting him some slack. He insisted on these. If he wants them out and doesn't like them, he can damn well find somebody else or do it his own damn self, because I'm not about to do it again. That being said, I already wiped the guitar down. I cleaned up as much of the glue that I could see from the tape. This is my little, I don't think that this instrument had the bridge in place properly. It's a floating bridge. It just sits on there. There's a big divot in the top of the guitar top right there. The pickup and saddle, the bridge and saddle assembly, when they assembled it, it was so nicely, get out of there. I guess things are just going to fight me today. I taped it together just to keep it together, and now I wish I hadn't. There is come on, you get off of there. Oh, a wise guy, huh? It'll be difficult. Is that what it is? For the love of Pete. there is a nice hole right there. And that, when they drove in the studs for the Tune-O-Matic, this guy right here, they drove it in, or somebody tried to adjust the saddle height, doing a tune-up on it or a setup, and actually drove it down through the bridge, which is just a floating piece of wood that sits on there thusly, and actually dented it right into the top of the thing. And I remember looking at it when he brought it, and I go, oh, there's actually a bolt and a stud or something there holding it. Well, there isn't. These things are meant to be floating. The string going over the saddle tension holds it in place. And then all other adjustments are made as necessary. But I usually, when I'm doing these, I will put a little piece of guide tape just to make the first 90 degree there. And that gets me 99% back where I was. Sometimes if you need to move them, you can. You just loosen the strings and get it set where you want. I digress. Ready for that, I just wanted to explain to you. Let's get the these. That's about where it's going to sit. Sorry for my fat head. A little bit different. The death buckers in there, they look pretty good. They sound okay. I mean, I haven't played the guitar yet. We got to string it and get it set up. But you're going to give me a hard time. You're going to give me a hard time. I don't think so. And this guy has a spacer that goes under there. Yeah, something like that. Sorry for being in the way. I can live with that. Can the customer live with it? That's the question. So we got spare parts left over. We do need the knobs. We got pickup rings left over. So I looked up the part numbers, model numbers on the back of the pickups that came in this. You can buy them all day long. See, that thing flopped over, and because that rag was there, it didn't bang on the top of the guitar. Just another tip from your Uncle Blackjack. You can buy them all day long, those pickups that came out of it, for like 24 bucks a piece. So there's probably not a lot to them. Probably not a lot to them. I didn't play the guitar when he brought it in to me. I just tested the pickups. I will say this though, the pickups that came out of it had 13, they were measuring 13 ohms resistance, and the ones that went in, they only had about 5, just over 5. So this could be an epic fail, but all the research I did on these death buckers, that's just what they are, because they're different and they don't have a million windings. They're aluminum with a transformer in there in lieu of all the windings and what have you. So whatever. I guess we're ready to proceed. String it, because we tested everything. I'm going to take a moment and clean up his neck and oil it. It is drier than a popcorn fart. And you know how dry that is. Let's just So yeah, I'm gonna pause while I clean these up. The frets are even a little dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the frets and get to it. Stand by. So we're just finishing up polishing here. I'm gonna get these frets cleaned up. Yep. Nice. Can't give it back to them like this. I need those to be nice and clean and polished up. And you know, see all the tarnish that comes off. You've seen that process before. And we're also going to do some oil. Now's the time to do it while the strings are off. I'm not going to give it back to them without doing this process because it needs it. I don't know what else it's going to need, but we'll get there. And you'll see some more of the tarnish coming off as you're doing this. You see how gray it is coming off of the frets. But mostly this is to do the board, get the wood treated because it was really dry. And before we put strings on it. Yeah. Oil helps clean it a little bit. And let it sit just for a few seconds, a few minutes. Yeah. Might have to do this one twice, I'm not sure. I don't know, it's going to be good. Nice. Okay. Frets and board are done. I know this has nothing to do with pickups, but now's the time to do it while the strings are off, and this just doesn't make any sense to go back and try to get under the strings and do that. It's just what I do. Loose, loose. They're all loose. Oh yeah, they were all loose. Okay. Strings. No, he did not give me strings, did he? Where's the case for this guitar? He did not leave me a case for this guitar, so we do not have strings. I got some. Little Ernie ball tins. Yep. Yep. So, bags away. Just about every tool in the stockpile I out on this guitar. It's such a pain in the tuchus. So place your bridge and saddle assembly. These are fun. The string just sits in there. And you pull it. So these floating bridges are tricky, I'm not going to lie to you. They're not the easiest thing in the world to work with. Get it close. Get a string on there. And what I recommend you do is now go over and do the high E. That way you're not pulling just on one side of it. I know the high E is much smaller, but it's best to get them on one on each side. And of course, the high E is going to give me a fucking heartache. Oh, you pain in the ass. Whispering to myself and swearing at the same time. Guaranteed that string will pop out of there before I get this started. Did not pop out. That's a miracle. Okay, you got a little bit of tension on each one. Get your bridge and saddle assembly lined up where you think it's supposed to be. And that's why I do the tape, because it gives me a point of reference when I'm getting back to stringing it. Boy, I hope we have enough adjustment pulling those up. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Put a little tension. That should be enough to hold it in position while you do the rest of the strings. And now that has got tension on it as well. So it we don't have to worry about it plopping down onto the body. A lot of work in the shop lately. Okay, I'm going to pause there while I get the other strings on. We'll be right back. So we're all strung up. I already adjusted the pickup height, and I did have to loosen the strings and move the whole bridge assembly forward. There was actually a dent in the paint where it was before, so I was close with my tape measurement here, but not exact. The reason I found out was because all of the intonation was flat by a whole cent, and I know I wasn't going to be flat on every single string, so on the saddles. So I moved the whole thing forward, then fine-tuned the intonation. The only reason I'm doing that is because I had that floating bridge off before I checked this, because I know this is going to need to be adjusted, but this isn't going to affect intonation. And it's super tight. So I know we got some buzzing strings, and yeah, let's get it set up the way it's supposed to be. And we're just going to do the truss rod adjustment and string height. And then we're going to check all the intonation and all that again, but we should be fine. And then we're going to plug it in and play it through an amp. I still haven't really done that. Well, a little bit we did, but what we got in there? 4mm probably. What do we got? Got a good turn on it, probably a whole turn. And that's where we need to be. That's all it took. That's all it took. Just wanted to be adjusted. It said he bought it used, but it looks like it's in relatively good condition. I mean, for being a used instrument, probably somebody bought it and returned it because, I don't know, maybe because the pickup sucked. I don't know. We'll find out here in a minute just what those death buckers sound like in there. I know they're working. I don't know what they're going to sound like in this hollow body. Wouldn't have been my choice. I passively tried to talk him out of it, but yeah, customer wants what the customer wants. And string height. String height. Should be close. Dead on. 5/64 on the bass and 4/64 on the treble. Let's just make sure it's tuned up one last time. I'll tell you one thing that does suck on it, these friggin' tuners. turned up much. Sounds pretty mellow to me. Sounds pretty mellow. Give it some boost. They sound good, good sounding guitar, but that's a bass amp I'm playing out of, and they're different. It's not really a good test. No guitar really sounds good out of it, but it's a success. I'm going to finish wiping it down. Everything's working right. Did the intonation string height. Just another glorious day in 396 guitars. It's Blackjack with 396 and the Death Bucker hollow body. We'll talk soon.